Hello
Said,
and good evening. Oh, hello. Shoot, why is that not working? Ah, there we go. But my webcam's not. What the hell? Why is my webcam not working? Ah,
it's We Have Not Fun.
yeah. Just give me 2 seconds. To restart Discord. I think that might be. Or not. Cool. Love that. Um, It's making me look like such an amateur right now. It's hilarious. Oh, God. We'll make it work like that. Hello and good evening. Welcome to this week's Grand Prix for WHF Tier 1. We are in Interlagos, Brazil. And we've got a few drivers looking to get an outlap. Obviously, last week's Star was the winner on track, but ended up losing out due to penalties, which obviously not ideal for him, but that did bring Arrow his first ever win here in WHF, and he'll be looking to capitalize on that this evening here in Brazil. Obviously, a few fresh new faces since last week. This week with me in the commentary booth, I've got Michael Louie, who is a championship contender for Tier 2 and my teammate in the Williams. Say hello, Michael. Some slight technical difficulty. We will rectify that shortly. There we go. My sincerest apologies, Michael. I tried to introduce you on the stream, and unfortunately I forgot that I restarted my Discord due to some technical difficulties. So say hello, Michael.
Hello, second time Discord weather. That was really horrible. Hello, Scones. Hello, everybody. It is a beautiful day in Brazil. Hopefully, we should see some reasonably close racing and a very exciting qualifying session.
Fingers crossed, obviously hoping that Arrow can continue his momentum after having his second place that ended up a victory last week. Where were we last week? Was it Las Vegas?
Yes, it was Las Vegas. I watched the highlights this morning. Very entertaining.
I think that's one of my favorite things about this league is the highlights. So we've got a few times coming up on the board. Round. We've got Zampa currently sitting P3 in the Williams, the 109.08, a full second slower than second place. Ollie JL in the Scuderia Ferrari, and a 108.085. That's Brian Kippy, a newcomer to the league. And he'll be looking to hit the ground running in his Haas. And we'll find somebody to go on board with. Lewis 8x Ferrari, another newcomer to the league. Coming in a full 2/10 quicker than Brian Kippy. Some pretty solid times being thrown on the board. Arrow's going to have to dig deep if he wants to have any shot at winning this race. Currently setting a 110.3. And Jamie Dwyer, who's reserving this evening in the Red Bull seat with a 112.6. It'll be interesting to see if F1 Lime is able to do anything this evening after his dismal performance yesterday in Tier 2. So he'll be reserving this evening in Star. Fan favorite. Won't be long till we see the Star groupies in the Twitch chat. The Lanky One Kippy and R3194 all saying hello in the chat. Zampa saying hello. It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys here, and we have seen a bit of Mercedes in the mix on the front runners, and that always leads to a bit of excitement. And Kevin Kell making his return in the reserve seat in the Haas this evening.
It's good to see Kevin back. I've had some incredibly close races with him. He has always been incredibly clean, and I'm still trying to catch him for the Tier 2 Championship, but it's not proving easy. It's always, whenever Kevin's in a race, you always know that he's going to be up the front somehow, some way. He always makes it up there. He's looking very competitive on his first lap. Very quick. Really impressive.
Absolutely. You know, as far as the sort of top 7 drivers, maybe 8 drivers, will include F1 Mallard in the mix, less than a second separates P1 and P9. So we could be in for some fairly close racing here in Brazil. A few newcomers to keep an eye out on would be Brian Kippy, Lewis 8 times Ferrari, and Young Himi Dimes, as well as Rob Starr. Certainly worth a mention. And personally, I'll be rooting for Ultra Titan this evening, who pulled out a podium only 2 races ago, I believe it was, which shocked everybody, including himself. So hopefully we can see him back on the podium here this evening in Brazil.
Luxury is just starting a hot lap. We might want to check on him.
We will go on board for a full lap with Luxury in the Kick Sauber. Now coming into turn 1. Loses the back end a bit.
Very wide line. Cutting it in very wide on the first corner. Okay. It looks like that was... Is he on a second? He is pushing, but that was a very wide first 2 corners. I'm not sure whether he's just trying to avoid track limits or whether that's the optimum line for him to go around the first 2 corners.
It might be a case of he's just trying to get a proper feel for the track, the setup, and just get a solid lap time in without invalidating, and then make a second push on another set.
Tight, twisty mid-sector. Looks to be keeping it nice and tidy. Using a bit of ERS going into the second heavy braking zone. A little bit of a lock-up as he goes into the final sector. Keeping it nice and clean. Can be one final braking zone. Chuck it in. Nice one. Using all of the ERS up the hill. Get the DRS open as soon as you can, as you power to the line. We'll see what he can come up with.
109.
Reasonably quick lap.
Simply not gonna fly. And
he got a very good middle sector. Very good middle sector, very good final sector, but he lost half a second in the first sector. And that's where he lost a lot of his time. He would have been in the top 10 if he hadn't have messed up those first 2 corners.
I suspect it was to do with those first 2 corners, like you said, taking that wide line. I think that's where he probably dropped a bit of time in that first sector. It'll be interesting to see what F1 Lime does, though. Ooh, Zampa is on a... Has he just completed a hot lap?
Zampa's just completed a hot lap. He just completed a hot lap, gone up a position.
Currently sits P14. Star the man to beat, but V Echo not far behind with the El Diablo time 107.666. Could see some genuine competition for Star here this evening. Obviously we've seen dominance from the Mercedes drivers in a few other races. And Arrow will have his work cut out for him. Needs to make up a little under 2/10 if he wants to be the pole sitter. Don't forget to replace your front wing this week, Brian, says Kippy. And Beck's in the chat, one of Star's superfans.
You've got to be really, in terms of the setup around this track, you want to run as low wing as you can, but at the same time, you want to be able to make that mid-sector work. Here comes Lewis 8 times Ferrari. Set, unfortunately, oh, he's invalidated. He's starting his lap. as we go into the first corner.
Michael, I do have a second on-track display for you. If you would like it on Discord.
Huh?
Well, I did that and then I realized you are probably
No, I am
in the
back
session.
in now.
Indeed.
I left the session briefly. I am rejoining now.
So Lewis 8 times Ferrari obviously was a bit of a thorn in the side of Arrow in Miami. It will be interesting to see what he can pull off here in Brazil. Obviously his time is just a hair slower than Arrow, who has set a 107.8. Obviously a massive improvement over his initial time that he set.
Looking at the sector times, Arrow has the fastest first sector. Star has the fastest middle sector, and Mallard has the fastest final sector. So there's definitely time to be made.
Lewis 8 times Ferrari lost the back end under braking in the first corner after his hot lap. But Mallard with the quickest third sector, that must mean he must be running a fairly low wing setup. Because that's where all the speed is, right?
Yeah, there's definitely time. I mean, Gordon, it was Gordon actually, not Gordon has just done an incredibly impressive time.
That is 2/10 quicker than his teammate.
Yeah, he got fastest first sector, fastest middle sector, but Mallard still holds the fastest final sector, which is interesting because there's not much to it.
I think a lot of this race is going to come down to strategy and setup. A lot of these drivers are evenly matched, and I think it'll mainly be who makes the most of any opportunities and doors left open.
Give you a rundown on the top speed. Arrow is currently running. He's got the maximum, the fastest top speed down the speed trap.
Ooh.
So he's definitely running a low wing setup. Hopefully to make some overtakes and to be able to defend during the race.
Looks like he's about to start a hot lap. We'll go and follow him for his hot lap now.
As he goes into the pits.
It might have been the exit on that final, corner coming out of the end of Sector 2, start of Sector 3. He spun a bit, maybe he didn't get the exit he was hoping for. But his teammate Ollie appears to be on a bit of a flyer.
No, he's not using ERS, so he's going into the pits as well.
Oh, he was on hot lap just before that. Seems like everybody maybe.
It's very strange.
We'll follow F1 Lime on his cooldown lap. Lanky One's about to finish a hot lap, so we'll see what he manages to pull off. It's a full second slower, but is he starting a hot lap now? Yes, I think he's just started a hot lap. So we'll see what he manages to pull out. The Lanky One. Very friendly guy, really competitive on track. And he will be in the sugar-free Red Bull this evening. Red Bull, it gives you wings. One of these days,
keeping it nice and tidy.
One of these days, we'll get a sponsorship.
You'll have a Red Bull fridge.
Oh, mate, don't get me started. I'd never go to sleep.
So, Lanky One is half a second up on his best time, so this could see him come up. Hopefully, we're within the top 10. Let's see what happens as he opens the DRS, flies towards the line.
Does he have the wings for it? Where's he finishing? 6/10 up. That puts him P12 just behind Ultra Titan. Not a bad lap at all.
So the Lanky One is running about 10 kilometers slower down the straight as Arrow, which possibly could explain as to why he gained a lot of time in the middle sector. But when it came to the final sector, he lost a bit of time because he was 5/10 up, and then he was only 4/10 up by the end. So the straights are definitely going to be an interesting one going into the race. People are going to be running higher wings, lower wings, could be interesting. We should see a lot of overtakes here.
F1 Lime has just set a new lap. I didn't catch his actual time on that last one, whether it was an improvement or not. But obviously, a little bit of a shaky driver, known for causing chaos on the track. And we've got...
Aero is currently starting his possibly final flying lap.
We'll check him out. And we've got Maxim Joachim in the jet, Star's #1 superfan, and D. Sommers speculating at me calling the Racing Bulls the sugar-free Red Bull. But Aero does look to be keeping it nice and clean and tidy.
Slight little lockups in the middle sector, but he's keeping it clean.
He's got
really chucks it into the corner. He makes it stick, surprisingly.
He really needs to pull out a bit of pace here. He is up 2/10, but that won't be enough to get him into P1. Can he make up a little bit more on the straight? Well, straight, that's not quite a straight, but it's like the final sector. So we'll see what...
He's diving into the pits. He doesn't think that was enough. He thinks he's got more in it, so he's going to dive in, put a fresh set of boots on, and do one more lap.
I thought it looked pretty good, but Lewis 8 times Ferrari, not an improvement. He's going to remain in P6 currently. And F1 Lime on a hot lap. Absolutely diabolical line through there.
Yeah, he's getting a bit of race practice, I believe. I don't think he's practiced for this race, so I think he's just going out, doing laps, and seeing how it feels, because he's not actually improving at all on his time. But I think what he wants is to just get a feel for the car.
Do you think he might be trying to practice a line where he won't make contact with other cars for a change?
Yes, that would be beneficial. Lewis 8 times Ferrari looks to be the first of the final flying laps. He's just going around the final corner now.
See where F1 Lime ends up. Ooh, nearly 2/10 slower. But Lewis 8 times Ferrari is going to be quicker by 1/10.5, putting him in P5 just ahead of Aero. And he spins out on that first corner.
The next person to come up to the line is Echo, getting a brilliant slipstream from his teammate, Craig Conley, down the final straight. This could be enough. We'll see.
Will it be? He goes 2/10 quicker, putting him at just shy of 1/10 quicker than WHF Gordon. And obviously newcomer Brian Kippy. Brian Kippy's doing well to put himself on P3 in the Haas. And I believe he'll be making another attempt as well as Aero. Kevin Kell, I believe, has just started what I believe to be his final attempt, and he's invalidated.
It's incredibly unfortunate for Kevin Kell. He's definitely got a lot of pace.
P8's not a bad place to be starting from.
Star has only gained almost 2/10. This is not enough if he wants that pole position.
Ooh, 4/10.
Echo, getting the slipstream from his teammate, might have handed him the pole position. I don't think anyone else is going to be able to catch him.
I don't know. I think Star might have this. As he goes 4/10 quicker. Putting him in
1/10 quicker than Echo. That is incredibly impressive.
Especially considering Echo had a little bit of that slipstream from Craig Conley.
Yeah, that was... he must have used all of his battery down that final straight, and then some.
But we will have to see what Aero can pull out of his bag of tricks. In the Scuderia Ferrari.
Currently, and down. It's all going to be the final sector, final corner. He chucks it in.
He's just under 1/10 quicker, so I don't think it's going to be enough. I think best case scenario, he might gain another 10th. Which will barely put him on P5, and it won't be enough as he comes in 2/100ths slower than his best time. Lewis 8 times Ferrari. Now coming into the final little straight here. I don't think it'll be enough. I believe he's going to be on fairly worn softs, and he's backed out of the attempt. Where is he? He's out of fuel.
Looks like that's all of the laps completed. The outlier must be Echo in that McLaren, splitting the two Mercedes. That's very impressive. And Brian Kippy, I believe his Tier 1 debut, and he is P4. Lewis 8 times Ferrari, I'm not sure if that's his Tier 1 debut as well.
No, he raced in Miami. He was the main battler with Arrow in Miami.
Ah, so I missed that one. So very impressive. Aero P6, he's got some positions to gain, but from the looks of things, his car is going to be the quickest in straight line, which could really help him.
So that
for the
will
race.
be it for qualifying. But
quick run through the top 10.
Is that the most up-to-date driver standings? So we've got Star, Echo, Gordon, Brian Kippy, Lewis 8 times Ferrari, Arrow, F1 Mallard, Kevin Cal, Ollie JL, Ultra Titan, Young Hemi Dimes, Rob Star, the lanky one, F1 Lime, who managed to get himself into P14, and I missed the rest, unfortunately.
The rest don't matter.
Nah.
P14, 15 down, that don't matter.
Well, 15's the last one in the points, so I hope that's the most up-to-date one, but I want to make 100% sure.
Should have a bit of a lull now whilst everyone gets ready, checks their strategy. It is a dry race. I checked that. So
do you know if the current driver standing graphics in standings is the most recent?
I think if you go onto the results sheets and then look at the Google sheet, that has the most up-to-date standings on it.
$147, $137, $96.83.
So Aero and the two Red Bulls were the fastest cars down the straight. So that's going to be interesting for the race.
So we'll just go over some of the current standings, or not. Don't know why that doesn't seem to work. Nothing seems to want to work properly today, unfortunately. We'll just have to do it the old school way. I'll just have to quickly add it in here. And
we've got a few, yeah.
My
few rounds missing.
My what now?
There's a few rounds missing from the standings, I think.
No, that's an old one. So now I have it updated.
Okay.
Thankfully.
So WHF Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's still 10 points ahead of Arrow. Star climbing up the ladder with 96 points. And we've got Cookie with 83. Ollie with 78. Rio Harris with 72. And Ultra Titan, respectable, with 64. Kevin Cal, who is reserved, with 59. Ice Cream, the dominant one, with 58. But obviously the main championship competitiveness is between Arrow and Gordon. So those will be the two to watch on track this evening, seeing who can place better than who.
Gordon has the advantage of starting on the front row, whereas Arrow is starting P6, which is probably not where he'd want to start. But as long as you can get through the first two corners without getting any damage or getting involved in any collisions, I'm pretty sure Arrow, with the fastest car down the straight, will be able to make some overtakes going into turn 3.
That is
but
the
it's
key.
all up in the air until the lights go out.
That is the key, staying out of trouble. And we do see it fairly common, I suppose. Is Arrow not really getting a pole position, but managing to fight his way through the pack and then end up contending for the P1 spot, like we saw in, I believe it was Belgium, where he was within a stone's throw of Ice Cream until he got into a couple battles and fell way behind. And we've got 2 lights, 3, 4, and 5. And with that, we are racing. Star going to take us into turn 1. Doesn't get the best of starts. And a bit of action happening in the back of the pack there. Getting fairly wide through the first few turns. And Lewis 8 times Ferrari gets spun out and he falls all the way back. WHF Gordon falling back to P5. Brian Kippy loses that position to WHF Gordon once again. Arrow in P6. And oh my goodness, lots and lots of action happening here. It's almost
Keeping an eye
impossible.
at the rear of the field. F1 line has made up a few positions, up to P12. There has been a few ding-dong battles.
There was a
There's
coming
Haas
together
off
between
track.
Brian Kippy and Arrow there, and Brian Kippy was the loser, falling back to P9. Arrow still on track, doesn't appear to have taken any damage. It's P4. I believe the stewards may want to have a look at that after the race. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Echo and Star look to be making a bit of a breakaway. 9/10 of a gap to WHF Gordon. Arrow will be looking to close that gap to himself and WHF Gordon on this straight, where he does have the fastest time. And Star putting us in with the fastest lap. Quite a few position changes, the biggest losers being the 2
Luxury
Alpines.
has been spun around.
Oh
He
no!
came together with Lewis 8 times Ferrari, but he's gone going again. I'm not sure whether he's got any damage. It doesn't look to be.
No.
Young Himi Dimes, unfortunately, is not in the session, although I think he did rejoin, but he's not racing at this moment in time.
F1 Lime moving on up in the Red Bull, gets ahead of the lanky one. And bit of a gap opening after the first 5 drivers. The 2 Mercedes, the 2 Ferraris, and Echo in the McLaren. As WHF Mallard appears to be holding up the rest of the grid in the Aston Martin with a 1.5 second gap. Ultra Titan not far behind. And then
I think this has been Ultra Titan's strongest start in quite a while in Tier 1, so this is very good to see from him.
especially if he can stay out of trouble as Echo takes the lead from Star. Star will be possibly looking to make that back in the next DRS zone. Lanky One and Lewis 8 times Ferrari appear to be having a slight battle. Obviously, with the opening laps, the 2 biggest losers are the Alpines of Young Himi Dimes and Lewis 8 times Ferrari, who did look pretty good in their qualifying pace, but unfortunately, not going to be quite enough.
Just looking down the field, the top 6 started on the mediums. Ultra Titan started on the hards, which is going to be interesting going further into the race. He'll probably be doing a hard to medium strategy, whereas the others will be doing a medium to hard. Rob Star, F1 Lime, and Lewis 8 times Ferrari have all gone the softs. So that's very interesting, whether they're going to be going soft medium or soft hard to the end. There's a load of different strategies here. It's going to be very interesting to see how they play out as the race unfolds.
I need to catch a wake up. That's twice I've missed the overtake for pole position. As Star taking that pole position back from Echo. And Echo, looking to make a move on the inside, is able to do it. Ooh, a little bit of track limits happening there. He most likely get a warning. Star has his work cut out for him, currently trading 3/10 with WHF Gordon just behind, and Arrow patiently waiting for his opportunity to make his way onto the podium. It's It's kind of like a shark. He's just waiting to smell the blood before he pounces.
Arrow just has to keep it clean, and any overtakes he makes, he wants to make them nice and cleanly. He doesn't want to pick up any damage, because at the end of the day, he wants as many points as he can get, and it's one thing getting past Gordon, but it's also just keeping the DRS to everyone else is going to be crucial if he wants to get anywhere near the lead.
And we've got another position change as Star makes his way past Echo, and we will most
Side
likely...
by side in the first corner. Arrow is going around the outside of Gordon right now.
onto
Both
the
of them will
DRS
be
straight
getting
as they go
DRS.
side by side, and Echo as well as Star go side by side with attempts to defend the inside line, and Echo making it past, but Arrow gets stuck in the mix, managing to get past Gordon, who's picked up a 3-second time penalty, and Ollie now trying to follow his teammate past Gordon is unable to do so as Gordon closes the door. Bit of contact there from Gordon saying, hey, I'd like my P3 back, please. And I don't think Arrow will be having any of that.
Arrow having the low drag setup has definitely given him the advantage going down that back straight. Somehow he was able to make the move stick around the outside of turn 3.
But the weird thing is, he
Going
doesn't
on
seem
to the
slow in the
straight
corners either. So he must just have it dialed in. Gordon is making a bit of a drive now behind Arrow. He's had the better exit. He's got the bit of pace. Will he be able to get past all the way into turn 1 as Arrow goes for the defense on the inside? Bit of contact there from Gordon. And Ollie now looking to try and get onto the inside of Gordon. Will he get the exit and the speed? He appears to be getting ahead, coming out of the corner into the DRS zone, but Gordon making a surge to stay ahead of Ollie and keeps Arrow in his sights. Arrow wants to avoid as much of this battling as he can, as obviously that will pull him further away from that pole that he still craves. He needs to finish first on track, obviously getting the win last week, but due to a technicality, and there's been murmurings that it doesn't count as a win.
Just following further down the rear of the field, giving you the F1 Lime update. He was sitting in P12. He had a collision with either Lanky One or Zampa and is now down into P15.
I told you, when he's
It is
on
a
track,
very
it's chaos.
tight battle at the moment.
Shout out to Ultra Titan, who appears to have finally managed to get past F1 Mallard, I believe.
Brian Kippy got past him as well. So the Haas now leading the Williams. The Williams is going to look slightly down the inside, thinks better of it to get the DRS down the next straight.
And Kevin Kell has made his way into P8. Now looking to try and get past the Williams if he can. And Ultra Titan was going to make a move for the inside, doesn't fully commit, but stays on the inside. Brian Kippy getting a 3-second warning as they have it coming together, almost both going off track. Ultra Titan almost ahead now, needs to take the outside line through this corner. Brian Kippy going to stay on the inside as WHF Gordon picks up a second time penalty, and Brian Kippy sneaks on through, stays on the inside line ahead of Ultra Titan, and Kevin Kell had a front row seat to the action that happened there. And Lewis 8 times Ferrari moving into P9 ahead of F1 Mallard, who falls back into P10.
So we've got 3 distinct groups. We've got the front 5. We've got the battle from P6 to P11, and then we've got the battle for P12 all the way down to P17. These are some very close groups. Overtakes happening left, right, and centre constantly down every DRS straight. It's hard to know where to focus. Kevin Cowell has got ahead of Ultra Titan somehow, whilst everything has been happening.
He's done well there, but
Although
I
he
don't
won't
think
have
Ultra
the
Titan's going to let him
DRS
have it that
going down
easily
the
as he
straight.
makes a pass. And loses out to his teammate Brian
Kevin
Kippy
Cowell.
as well. And Brian Kippy goes wide on the same corner. He picked up the penalty.
That's the thing. If you get past someone on that first DRS straight, you're then vulnerable going down the second one if there's no one to give you DRS, and he didn't have any ERS to defend either.
We had yellow flags there. Was that Jamie Dwyer? Something must have happened. Not entirely sure what happened there, but we briefly had a yellow flag. Young Himi Dimes is not reconnected. Are you able to send him an invite?
I might be able to.
He is not a slouch of a driver. Neither is Star, easily getting ahead. And Arrow, looking to make it a meal, makes a bit of contact, almost gets P2. Oh, that was very brave from Arrow. I think he's getting a bit impatient in that P3 spot. That was a very brave move, optimistic at best. Echo easily getting ahead of Star. We see them swapping P1 back and forth.
This has allowed Ollie to catch up to the 3. And Gordon is still just there hanging on into the DRS, but Gordon with that 3-second time penalty.
He's got 6 now,
pretty much. Has he got 6 seconds now?
6 seconds now, so if Arrow keeps it clean, at the very least, that gives him points to close the gap to Gordon.
He can pretty much kiss the win goodbye. It's going to be, I suppose, P5 will be his worst finish if it ends. Oh, maybe P6 will be his worst finish if everything stays the same.
And Ollie now making a move on Arrow, makes it stick into turn 1 they go. So
Ultra Titan also making a move on Kevin Cow for P6 as they go into the first corner. Although Kevin Cow will probably try and take this one back, going down the second DRS straight.
Absolutely, for
DRS
sure we'll see
open.
that. Will Ultra Titan be able to defend? That is the question. I don't think Kevin Cow has the legs.
Enough DRS to be able to defend. Who was left?
Pardon?
Did you say someone's left?
No, I was saying I don't think Kevin Cow has the legs to make a move on Ultra Titan.
Sorry for the confusion. Looking back at the front, Echo is still holding on to the lead from Ollie, from Aero.
For now, but I suspect we'll see Star take that P1 spot back coming onto this section with the start-finish line. And possibly see Arrow make a move to get his P3 spot back from his teammate. And here we see Echo, who was initially taking the inside line, goes back to the outside. Could we see a lunge from Star? No, not quite enough to close the distance. And Ollie, who I must say, he's very quick, but you don't see him take a lot of risks. I do appreciate that about him. He's a consistent
I have
driver.
To say, he is a very consistent, very clean driver. People like Ollie, Kevin Cow, Craig Conley, Lanky One, Godzilla are all people that make league racing that much more fun, because when you race them, you race clean, and it's always fair, and that's what league racing is all about at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and you know, it's also about giving the other drivers space. You know, sometimes it can be a bit difficult to do that, but I feel like a lot of drivers in these leagues do manage to do it. And it makes for a far more exciting race than if you made contact.
I just want to draw your attention to the fact that I think the crossover between the softs and the mediums has started, because the fastest person on track at the moment is Ultra Titan in P6.
Interesting. And he's
Sorry,
on the
talking
hard.
over moves to the lead. Aero goes into second place. He's going to want to try and get the
Ollie
lead
in second.
down the second straight. Oh, Ollie, sorry, not Aero.
But Arrow now looking to make a move on the McLaren of Echo. He is to almost make it stick, as he's going to have to take the outside line on the next corner. Will he have the legs to get all the way ahead? And he does, as Echo falls in behind Arrow now. The two Ferraris now have to set their sights on Star, currently sitting in P1. We'll be happy to have the McLaren off of him, but he's got some new scenery with Ollie in his rearview mirrors.
Lanky One has been the first soft runner to pit for the hard tyres. It'll be interesting to see if we see anyone react to that. So now Lanky One has come out in clean air. He's going to try and gain as much time as he can on this outlap to get the undercut on his
Jamie
rivals.
Dwyer's just gone off track. I think the expiration date for those softs has come and gone.
He's having a very weird race, is Jamie Dwyer. Not sure if he's having any technical difficulties.
Kevin Cal in the pits, next to pit. And
Kevin Cow, F1 line, both in the pits now. People are starting to get off of those soft tyres.
Something must have happened with Arrow and Echo that we missed, because they no longer have DRS to the front runners, Ollie and Star, who have a bit of a battle going on for P1. But that little battle has enabled Echo to close the gap and possibly get DRS. And Arrow's fallen down to P4 as Jamie Dwyer, our first retirement of the race. Hopefully the only one. FRC
Looks
Luxury,
like,
the latest defender to pick up a penalty. You know, I do appreciate...
Echo has been able to keep DRS, which is very good. Going on to the main straight. Well, Echo has not got DRS. That was very strange. It looked like he did, but must have just lost it. Arrow will be right on his gearbox going into the first corner. Going through turn 2, keeping it nice and clean. Arrow gets a slightly wider exit, compromises his exit. He'll have the DRS, but he's a bit too far back to make a move. Echo has been able to get back within that 1 second, so if he can keep it throughout the rest of the lap, we should see the battle for the lead still be a four-way battle, but it looks like Echo, he's lightning quick on the straights, but he might be struggling slightly in the mid-sector. These medium tyres are starting to cry out.
I think if he can get a good exit on that left-hander before the speed straight, I think he'll be able to catch them, as we see him close that to about 9/10 now, but it all comes down to this corner right here and the type of exit he can get, as he is... I think he'll get it.
Very wobbly exit.
I think he will get it.
He might just have it. Yep, he's got DRS.
Excellent.
And that is crucial for Echo. That is absolutely crucial for him.
Oh, has he got it?
It said that he had it. I swear I saw on the screen that he had it. But he must have not.
It must have been just
This
barely
game is
out.
incredibly well made.
He should have it here, though, as he's only 8/10 behind, and he does. Hopefully that gives him the opportunity to close that gap.
Whilst we look back down the field, Lewis 8 times.
Ollie, the latest offender, picking up a 3-second time penalty.
Lewis 8 times Ferrari dives into the pits and unfortunately gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pits.
Oh.
Brian Kippy also gets another 3-second time penalty for track limits. Being such a high-speed track of Brazil, you want to try and take as much corner speed as you can, and that obviously means that you will go wide if you don't get it exactly right, and that appears to be plaguing quite a few drivers at the moment.
It is unfortunate. I believe the only one of the newcomers, or the only two of the newcomers not to have a penalty yet, is Robstar and Young Himi Dimes. But obviously Young Himi Dimes...
Ollie dives into the pits from P2. He's going to want to get onto those hard tyres and then try and set a blisteringly fast outlap to be able to get ahead of Arrow and Echo and Star when they come in for their pit stop in possibly a few laps' time.
Scones, if Lanky and Luxury come together, can we call them the Luxury one? For sure. Jamie Dwyer retired, and he says in the chat, the tires were cooked, was not having fun. And Bex, cheering on Star, says, go on, Star, keep it up. I think Echo may have something to say about that as he sets his sights on Star. And Arrow, licking his lips, drooling over the thought of finishing in that P1 position. Ultra Titan currently just playing with himself in P4, as is Brian Kippy. Conzilla has Zampa for company, as well as Ollie JL, who is out of the pits, currently sits P8. Slight battle with Zampa, and both Star...
This is going to really hurt Ollie on his outlap.
Star and Arrow,
fighting with Zampa.
both in the pits. Echo stays out. Ultra Titan moving up to P2 on those hard tires, which I believe should have at least a couple more laps in them before he changes to, I'm guessing he'll be going on to a medium compound, playing it safe. Godzilla moves up to P4. And Star is coming out, but where will he come out? Previous race leader has Arrow just behind him for company. And he will come out.
Ollie has made the undercut work. Ollie has come out ahead of Star and ahead of Arrow. So the undercut has come to Ollie's advantage, but it will mean that he will have slightly worse tyres, very slightly worse tyres come the end of the race. So Ollie could be on for the win here. Well, if he didn't have his penalty.
I think the best strategy. I think Ollie, the best thing that he could do is potentially try and slow down Star and somehow let Arrow get past. And Echo picks up a 10-second penalty. That is his race gone. Dreams of a P1 gone down the drain. And Ultra Titan now sits at P1.
When you dive into the pits, you are going at maximum speed, 180 miles an hour.
Brian Kippy
also gets a penalty.
Everybody's struggling with the pit lane limit.
You're going so fast when you dive into the pits. You really have to slam on the brakes and hope that it sticks. And so many people getting caught out by it, and it really ruins your race.
Arrow gets ahead of Gordon. Needs to get ahead of Godzilla to make sure Star isn't able to have a breakaway. Obviously, one of the only front runners to not have a penalty is Star and Arrow. So he needs to make this execute on. There we go. He's done it. He's gotten
drives up the inside, makes it stick. Arrow needs to use a bit of DRS here if he wants to stick with Star and get the DRS advantage, the DRS boost down the straight. He's currently got 2/10 he needs to make up in the final sector. I'm not sure he's going to be able to make it.
I don't think so.
He'll have to try and save his ERS possibly for a few more laps time.
It'll be on
it's very close between him and Star.
It'll be on Ollie to try and make Star work for that overtake. And possibly slow him down a bit so that Arrow can get back into the DRS. It's all about the team game. And he appears
Ollie, with that 3 seconds, he should. I reckon that is the idea: is to play the team game, and it doesn't appear to be working as Star gets in front of him
with ease.
Down the second DRS straight.
There wasn't even a defensive move from Ollie, but he is a very safe driver. I think he'll, if he knows somebody's quicker, especially in a DRS zone, he won't make the defensive move just in case it ruins his race.
The thing is, if Ollie can stick within the DRS, he'll be able to get DRS down the next straight and probably get past him again anyway. It's all about playing the long game at this track and sticking within the DRS, which is so powerful.
That is it. And Arrow seems to be unable to close that gap a little bit more. As currently sits 2/10 outside of DRS. But his teammate Ollie will have it.
More importantly, Echo and Gordon have DRS behind Arrow, which will make him a bit nervous going down this next straight because Echo has got a brilliant slipstream and he's a brilliant exit. He's got the DRS. He's going for the move.
And he'll do
on
it
the
with
inside.
Ease. Plenty of space to spare as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was possibly the easiest overtake we've seen so far. Arrow really not able to do any sort of defensive moves, but he knows if he can stick with the DRS, maybe Echo is his key to getting DRS to the people ahead. If Echo has a bit more pace. Brian Kippy is retired.
On track?
He does appear to have retired on track. That's not what you're supposed to do.
He hasn't.
He will probably be hit with a penalty.
I suspect we might see that, as we saw Luxury doing a little bit of Tokyo drifting there. And Ultra Titan
Ultra Titan is now pitted out of the lead. Ultra Titan getting off of those hard tyres. Let's see what he puts on to the end. We could see a charge from Ultra Titan to the end on a fresh set of boots.
I suspect he'll be wanting to go mediums. I don't suspect he'll be able to get 16 laps from soft, and he has gone mediums. Ultra Titan definitely not the type of person to go soft on you. And Ollie, now the on-track P1. And would love to see Echo and Arrow get back within fighting distance of the two front runners.
I think Arrow's got to be smart here. He knows that Ollie and Echo both have penalties, so he doesn't really need to fight them too hard. He will lose a position to Star. Star will get the race win as it stands, but Arrow will get P2, and if he can just keep Gordon behind him, and even if Gordon gets ahead of him, if he can stick within 3 seconds, he knows he has a net gain in the championship, and that is what it's all about at the end of the day. With, I believe, 2 more races after this one.
Absolutely, and I don't think we'll see anything risky from Star after last week, where obviously he did win on track, but the stewards viewed one of the incidents and he ended up getting a penalty from it.
Ultra Titan making his first move on Aaron going into the first corner. Ultra Titan with the medium tyres, fresh mediums. I will keep an eye on his lap times. He hasn't set a respectable lap time yet, but I can assume when we get to the first flying lap on those mediums, he will probably be the fastest one out there. And he's only 5 seconds away from Lewis 8 times Ferrari, although that is a long way from the lead. We should see a good points finish from Ultra Titan, and that is really good to see.
Is it weird that I kind of want to see a safety car just to see all the gaps close?
It is
F1 Lime, do your thing,
unusual.
mate. Give us a safety car.
It's very unusual for a full grid on Tier 1 that we have not seen a safety car, even with Brian Kippy retiring on track.
You see, I see what the problem is F1 Lime doesn't have anybody ahead of him to crash into. So, unless we see Robstar make a move, there'll pretty much not be a safety car as Lewis 8 times Ferrari makes a move on Kevin Cal, who is sitting P7. And Aaron, the latest driver with the pit lane speeding penalty in the Aston Martin.
There's a lot of drivers with the same penalty. That is, it's quite surprising.
Mallard and Robstar get ahead of Lime as we see Lime try to get the position back. And just like I said, what did I say? I told you, that's our man, the guy who causes safety cars, and look at what happened, and I caught it all on camera.
It's only a virtual safety car, which is...
What?
It's going to slightly neutralize the race.
No, the safety car's coming out of the pit lane.
Oh, okay,
So
the game is just being weird.
Safety car.
Ooh, we didn't see anyone pit. Star pits. Out of the lead, Star pits. Ollie is pitting as well. Echo's pitting. Eric, okay, everyone's going to pit.
I told you, if there's one
there's no
person to
point
give us a
staying
safety car, it would be Lime. I called it last week the last time he raced. I called it in qualifying. I called it when he started the race.
Lewis 8 times Ferrari with another 10-second penalty.
Oh, the
Speeding
Alpines
in the
have
pit
no
lane.
luck.
Lime somehow is still in this race.
You know, you've got to feel bad for Mallard. Obviously, he didn't really do anything wrong. And his race has been
Lime,
ruined.
mate, 10-second time penalty as well for Lime. I think we're going to have to try and figure out whether there's more track limits penalties or speeding in the pits penalties in this race.
I think there's more speeding in the pit lane penalties.
That's so surprising. Everyone's going to get a fresh set of tyres. I believe everyone's gone onto the mediums.
Ultra Titan has stayed out. Currently sits in P1.
Ultra Titan only has 3-lap-old mediums. Those are not really. That's not really going to show much difference.
I think
It's going to be a slight disadvantage, but this race has been played into Ultra Titan's hands massively. He was looking for top 5 finish, and now he's on for the lead.
He's on for the lead and a very good chance of a podium. I would love to see that.
Very good chance.
We haven't seen that in a few races. So, as far as the pit lane penalties, we've got Lewis 8 times Ferrari, Aaron, and F1 Lime, who have pit lane penalties. I believe Brian Kippy had one. And those drivers just really keen to get into the box.
Yeah, I reckon they will all pit again. There's no point staying out there with a 10-second time penalty if you can serve it and get rid of it.
You know, not unless we see the field open up a little bit more. Like
although Lime and Luxury and Lewis 8 times Ferrari stay out. I understand track position for Lewis 8 times Ferrari. Has he gotten rid of his penalty?
No, but he did replace his wing after coming together with F1 Mallard.
If I was him, I would, I would get that penalty removed. There's three people with pit lane penalties who are still sat behind the safety car. I would assume the most logical thing would be to pit and get rid of it, because even if you've got track position, like 13 seconds worth of penalties or 10 seconds worth of penalties is a lot around here.
But are you allowed to serve that under safety car?
I do believe so.
Brian's brake
safety car is in this lap, so they don't even have a chance to now. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap.
Kippy says Brian's brake pedals no longer respond. I believe that would be why he retired on track. So
okay, that's a fair enough excuse, to be fair. If you can't make it back, then yeah, you don't want to really. Here we go.
As Ultra Titan will be getting us started. Both Ferraris foaming at the mouth, as well as both Mercedes. As we come into turn 1, we will go on board with Star, who has a front row seat to the backside of Ultra Titan, and Echo, the latest driver to offend the track limits. And Star has an amazing run down the straight, has to take the outside line, but Ultra Titan backs out, plays it safe, sneaks in right behind Star. He does not want his race ruined. Ooh, I say that, and he's trying to make a move for the inside now in the next corner, makes it stick, but Star has the pace going around the outside. Ultra Titan still on the inside now. Now has to take the outside line. I think this is where we're going to see a breakaway from Star, and we do, as Ultra Titan now falls in behind Star. Ollie has a front row seat to the backside of Ultra Titan now.
I just want to point out the man, the myth, the legend that is Kevin Cow is in P6. He's got ahead of Echo, and he's sitting on possibly a podium right now. The Tier 2 championship leader he's doing really well. His strategy has been perfect. From where he started to where he is now is incredible.
Ollie managed to get ahead of Ultra Titan with ease. I didn't see the DRS flap open for Ultra Titan. He may have not had it?
DRS is activated after the first lap, after a safety car.
I could have sworn
Arrow
I saw Ollie's
has a massive drive around the outside on Ultra Titan. It looks like he might be able to make it stick. He's got the inside line for the next few corners.
And just ahead of him, he's got his teammate taking the inside of Star. My goodness. The two Ferraris with both in battles at the same time. Same camera shot. And Arrow, has made the move stick, as has Ollie. Now sets his sights on P2. If he can get ahead of Star, we could be seeing his second ever win. But again, not on track, and a few people have said that it doesn't really count unless you're the first across the line.
No, I don't believe them. I think Arrow definitely deserves to have a win in WHF, and on track or not, a win is a win. He hasn't gone a penalty for track limits, and that is something that he possibly would have lost time by not getting a penalty, by doing anything that gains you any time.
Ultra Titan and Echo, a little bit of wheel banging happening there, coming out of the second corner. And Ultra Titan gets a move tries to defend from the outside. Echo able to get the run on him. Currently sits P6. Is a shoe-in for a podium as we've got a yellow flag.
Robstar off in the background.
Very unfortunate.
Not been a good race for Robstar.
Very unfortunate for the Racing Bulls driver.
The sugar-free Red Bull, get it right.
Star appears to be pulling a slight gap to Ollie. And Ollie leaving his teammate in the dust just slightly. 6/10 separates them, and WHF Gordon appears to be closing his gap. Echo not
Gordon
far
with
behind.
that 6-second penalties. He's got to be thinking about, I suppose, trying to break away from anyone behind him, but they all have the DRS right now.
Ooh, beautiful defense there from Ultra Titan against Lewis 8 times Ferrari. But he is fading slightly. We'll still get DRS, but I don't think he's got the pace to fend off that Alpine for another 7 laps. Which would be a shame, because as it sits, current pace and position, he would be getting a P3.
That would be a sight to behold from Ultra Titan.
To do
Someone
it twice
who
in the same
has won
season.
championships, and he's always been up there in terms of pace, but he's for some reason never been able to make it. There's always been people getting more luck or slightly faster than him, but he's doing everything he needs to do currently to be able to. I say that and give him the commentator's curse massively, because he had a massive tank slapper, lost half a second to Echo, and his
it's about
Lewis
to
8
lose
times
on.
Ferrari is breathing down on him right now.
Well, you know what?
It's 3 wide going into the first corner.
For current pace and position, this puts Kevin Cal just shy of a potential podium.
Yeah, these people, they need to kind of stop battling and try and get back into the leaders, because with those time penalties, they will get massive gains if they can just, work together here.
I think Kevin Cal needs to understand that the 3 drivers in front of him all have penalties. So that would put him on
Yeah,
P3.
you might not even know that. That's very true.
No, it wouldn't. I think Ollie is just a little bit more than 3 seconds ahead of Kevin Cal. But my math ain't mathin' right now. 1 second, 1.5, 1.6, 2.6, 3.1-ish. So I think he is just outside. I would like to see him and the Alpine of Lewis 8 times Ferrari work together. And Arrow defending against WHF Gordon as well as Echo. They come into that corner. Ollie JL with a second 3-second penalty.
That's absolutely
Oh my
ruined
goodness.
Ollie's race.
Echo gets ahead of Gordon, now going around the outside of Arrow. Arrow looking to try and take the inside line. Will he be able to defend? He does. Gets a fairly solid exit.
Echo has picked up wing damage somehow. I'm not sure how that happened, but that will not be aiding his charge, and possibly contributing to the fact that he's got track limits penalties. We have the yellow flag for Sector 2.
I believe it's
Not
Robstar.
quite sure. It is Robstar. No, or is it? No, it's Himmy Dimes, who I'm not even sure if he's even in. I think
He is not. I believe it was Robstar. He appeared to be moving very
trying to
slowly.
figure out. Robstar and Lime appear to be having their own little battle, separate to everything else that's going on. Robstar coming into the pits, possibly to retire. Yeah, definitely to retire.
Ooh, as we saw a bit of a tank slap with Star coming out of that corner as he takes the inside line. Now he's going to be on the outside on the next corner. And we see Echo potentially going to make a move on Arrow. But Arrow is able
Arrow
to
is
fend off.
positioning that Ferrari exactly where he needs to. every single corner he's putting it exactly the right place so that Echo cannot get past.
Ollie, mate, you got to do something to help your teammate out. Maybe brake check Star, or have a bit of a tank slap accidentally on the straight, and do an assassination like what happened to Michael Louis in Austria.
You love to bring that up, almost as much as you love to bring out how you were faster than me at Baku.
It's the one thing I hold on to, alright? Give me a break.
We've only got three or four laps left of this race. The top 8 drivers are all within DRS of each other, which is incredible to see, although half of them have track limits or other time penalties.
The wanky one almost sitting in no man's land, but I believe he's got the rear end of Kevin Cal to play with in just a minute.
Kevin Cal and the lanky one, both tier 2
drivers,
veterans,
but doing themselves very proud here, both in the top 10.
It's very impressive to see. I know that tier 2 is not quite at the level of these guys, but we're all pretty clean, and at the top of tier 2 we're reasonably on a close enough pace. I think with the DRS it's definitely helping them stick with this pack. Everything is sort of smoothed out a bit. No one's making any sort of outrageous moves. I think Aero possibly playing the clever game. He doesn't think he can get past Star, but sticking in this position will guarantee him a P2, and that's going to mean so much for him in the championship. He doesn't want to lose any positions or risk any sort of contact.
Especially with the time penalties, Gordon will be losing out massively with how small the gap is. Could be dropping down as far as P10 potentially.
Gordon almost pushing Aero around that long right-hander. As we get into the tight, twisty stuff, Aero, he's there and thereabouts, but he doesn't quite have the exit to be able to catch up to Star that when it really matters. But as long as he can keep within a second, which he's doing absolutely perfectly, he'll be able to keep the P2 as it stands.
So many penalties. Obviously WHF Gordon and Ollie both with 6-second penalties. And oh no, not Aero.
Aero, he went for a move that was never ever going to work. The door was closed on him, and he made contact with Star. That is not what you want.
That is
not
heartbreak on the second to last lap. Oh no, Aero. Why do bad things always happen to Aero, I swear?
Well, good news, we've got something for the highlights reel.
Oh man. He could have played it safe, guaranteed P2, and massively more points than his championship rival WHF Gordon.
I think we need to stop talking about Aero ever in a league race.
Don't even show him on the stream.
Together.
And be like,
don't show him on the stream. Don't do anything.
Yeah,
oh man.
Sort of in P6, we've got Ultra Titan, P7, Kevin Cal, P9, the lanky one.
As it stands, Aero will still gain on Lewis 8 times Ferrari and Gordon. As we go on to the final lap, Ollie leads by Star, by Gordon, by Echo, by Lewis 8 times Ferrari, by Ultra Titan. Aero gets ahead of Kevin Cal going into the first corner.
That's still going to be a podium for him.
This is really important for Aero. He's got to try and get ahead of Ultra.
Michael.
If he wants a podium.
Michael, Ultra Titan P2 incoming.
Oh, this could be absolute scenes from Ultra Titan. If he can hold on ahead of Aero, Aero will still get a P3 at this rate, which is a brilliant finish, although it's not what he wants. He wants a win, or P2 at least, if he wants to close up in the championship, but he'll still finish ahead of Gordon, but what could have been for Aero? So unfortunate.
Incredibly unfortunate.
On a sector we go.
Kevin Cal, I believe, will finish just shy of the podium. But as we come onto the final straight, we've got Star. Will he have the legs to get ahead of Ollie on track? Will still get P1 regardless. And he does easily get ahead, and WHF Gordon P3 on track, but Ultra Titan P2, WHF Arrow in P3, and WHF Gordon has fallen down massively to P7. Won't be too happy about that, losing out on quite a few points, but Arrow will be able to close the gap substantially to his championship rival. Which,
Honourable mentions to the lanky one.
The wanky one?
Very
Absolutely.
solid P8 from him. And honourable mention to Craig Conley, who he's a great racer. I've raced against him many times, getting a top 10 finish.
Ultra
Brilliant
Titan,
from
your
him.
driver of the day. Well deserved, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Ultra Titan, the Williams. As we know, the Williams is the best car and best team.
If we just move
WHF.
over to driver interviews under Tier 1, we'll be doing interviews with the drivers that are available. So as we wait patiently for the drivers to finish popping the champagne, I'm very excited to get Star, Arrow, and Ultra Titan here and see what they have to say. Obviously, a lot of penalties were thrown out today. Lots of pit lane penalties, and that's the thing. You can't be too excited to get into the box here in Brazil, as you will be punished severely, I might add. A whole 10 seconds. As we wait about a minute or so before we give up. But here we have your final grid. Star, followed by Ultra Titan, WHF Arrow, Kevin Cal, Echo, Ollie, Gordon, Lanky One, 8 times Ferrari, Craig Conley, Godzilla, Zampa, Aaron, Luxury, and as we said in qualifying, anybody under P14, kind of irrelevant. And we had a singular safety car, courtesy of F1 Lime, who absolutely assassinated Mallard. I couldn't believe it myself, especially after I basically spoke it into existence. But what an eventful race that was here at Interlagos. And joining us in the commentary booth now is Star, the race winner, the dominant person. Obviously, the Mercedes dominance is starting to bore a few fans in the chat. Obviously not the Star super fans. And we've got Kippy saying congratulations. Echo saying that was a good race. The Lanky One, be good friend for Sid. And Craig Conley saying GG Echo. D Sommer saying Piney. Lime is a lemon from F1 Zampa F1. And Echo stating a few positions. But we will start off with Star, the race winner this evening here in Brazil. We saw him at the front for the majority of the race, battling with the Ferraris and briefly with a McLaren near the start of the race. Star, how do you feel the race went for you this evening?
Well, for me personally, I had no idea that the field was going to be this close. I was terrified that it was going to be like a one-man show, and like one person would drive away and the rest of us would be stuck in DRS, but thankfully that didn't happen. It was really, really good. Scrapping both the Ferraris, it was really, really good fun. Yeah, definitely not a boring race like Miami was.
No, of course
And
not.
I'm
Obviously,
glad-
you were in the trenches from start to finish. You were battling for that P1. You had to earn it for a change.
Yeah, no Mercedes dominance to bore these fans, I tell you. But yeah, it was. I'm just so glad there was a safety car right when we could all have pit. It's a shame that we had to double stack, but I think Ferrari may have had that same problem, so I guess it evens it out. But yeah, a really, really tough race. That McLaren was really, really quick, and the Ferraris didn't half make me work for it today.
No, that was all courtesy of Ollie, I believe, had a few position changes, but obviously he had the penalty, which was the slight disadvantage. But congratulations on the win, Star. And
Thank you.
Will you be looking to continue the... pardon me. Will you be looking to continue the dominance in the next race? in Japan.
Maybe. I haven't done that track for a while, so it's definitely going to be more fun than Brazil, where it's just a DRS fest. In Japan, you can actually race without DRS and battery. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And Qatar is going to be a brand new one for me. I've never raced on Qatar before, so that will also be good fun.
So you're going to have to put in a bit of practice for the last 2 tracks of the season.
Yep.
Well, hopefully you continue the dominance and give us an absolutely amazing show like you have been doing in the last 2 races. We'll move over to the driver who stole the number 2 spot, Arrow. How do you feel the race went for you?
That was Ultra.
Oh, it was Ultra.
was
My
me.
mistake. See, Ultra, you're just going to have to be a little bit quicker so I get used to you being on the podium.
It doesn't happen
Wow.
often.
Free Ultra.
But obviously, I believe this is your best result so far this season. Is that correct?
Yes. I think I got third in Monza, and that's it.
Yeah, well, we were racing for you here in the commentary box, and once we saw the penalties start coming in, we were like, Ultra Titan, especially when you stayed out under the safety car, we were like, he could be potentially for the lead, but obviously Star is such a dominant driver, and there's nothing against you. We've just seen that Star is like just his own thing. He's his own entity. But we were rooting for you to get a podium, and you've done just
thank
that.
you.
Obviously,
It was a surprise.
well, obviously you are a very safe and sensible driver, and today that has paid off for you because you picked up no penalties.
Yeah. I think I only got 1 track limit warning on lap 32, and that's it as well. So, yippee!
So obviously next week's going to be Japan. Is that a pretty good track for you, or one that you're not overly confident in?
I haven't tried it. I don't remember on this game, but I did win. I was the only driver, I've got to brag, to beat Cloud and Cookie in one season on track at Japan, so it's historically good. So it just depends on how it is on this game.
Maybe you need to put a bit of seed time in ahead of next Sunday, but congratulations
Oh
on
God,
the
no.
P2.
I don't want to drive this game anymore.
Well, we've only got a few races to go before the new one comes out, and there'll be a whole new list of bugs to deal with.
Thank you for commentating as always, both of you.
Yeah, Michael joined me. He gets a little bit shy when it comes to the driver interviews, which is absolutely fine. But congratulations, Ultra Titan. It's lovely to see you on the podium again, and I hope we can see you on the podium again before the end of the season.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
We'll be rooting for you here in the commentary booth, and we'll move over to Arrow, who managed to salvage a podium despite the incident that happened, I believe, on the second to last lap. Overall, though, Arrow, how do you feel the race went for you this evening?
Well, in truth, without Ollie, I would have been screwed that race because I had no pace at all. But I was able to hold on, and there was potential for a win there. And then on the penultimate lap, Star randomly locked the rears, and then I had nowhere to go. So
that was incredibly unfortunate, but still a massive amount of points difference between you and your championship rival this evening. I'm sure you'll be happy about that.
well, if I had got at least P2 there, which I think I should have had after that race, I would be leading. But so.
Well, it's even closer. Obviously, next week will be Japan. Is that a pretty strong track for you, or one that you're not overly confident in?
I think it is. Last time we raced there, I was pretty comfortable in everything that I was doing, and then I ran into the rear of Ollie last season, back when he was in a different team, and then I broke my wing. So I need to not do that again, and I'll be good.
Well, just have to play it safe. As Ultra Titan showed us today, sometimes playing it safe is the way to go. But congratulations on the podium this evening, Arrow, and congratulations to the winner, Star, as well as congratulations to the person who I love seeing on the podium, Ultra Titan. And I believe that'll be all for this evening, as we possibly have a look for somebody to raid.
Oh, well, there's Echo in here. Might look for an interview as well.
Oh, yes. Echo, who was leading the race for quite a
And
bit.
Ollie. No! Oh, rip Ollie.
Oh. Whoops.
Ollie got scared.
Echo was in the McLaren, I believe. And
Yeah.
was giving Star a run for his money early on in the race. How do you feel that how do you feel it went for you this evening, Echo? Obviously, you didn't get the finish you were hoping for.
Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, with qualifying, I had a really good qualifying. I got P2. I was quite impressed with that result. And basically, with the race, I was just trying to just fight for the win, like fight for myself. I know my teammate, he was in the back of the grid, kind of struggling. He was on a different strategy to me. So yeah, I was just mainly just trying to stay within that DRS, and I managed to hold P1 for a few because I stayed out. I stayed longest on the mediums. I think I stayed out for 17 laps, and then, but obviously I got that 10-second penalty with speeding in the pit lane, so I was like, oh no. So I was kind of gutted.
I mean, it was incredible to see you squeeze the amount of life out of the mediums that you did, but at least you can take solace in the fact knowing that you weren't the only driver to violate the pit lane speed limits.
Yeah.
So
Like on the safety car restart, that's why I pitted again for the hard. No, for the. I think it was the hards that I started on. Yeah, it was the hards. Started on hards and then lasted 17 laps and then switched to the mediums and then got rid of that 10-second penalty, so I served it and then gained positions back off the safety car restart.
But yeah, with next week being Japan, do you think there could be a podium in it for you next week?
Unfortunately, next week I'm doing Easter things with family, so I think I'm gonna sit that race out. Even though Japan is one of my greatest tracks, unfortunately, so I was quite gutted that I'm missing the next race out.
That is unfortunate, but will you be with us for, I believe it's Qatar for the final
Yeah,
race?
I'll be there for Qatar. That's another good track of mine that I'm really good at. So I can't wait for that one, and hopefully I'll be able to get a podium, well, my first podium in this league.
So what you're saying is you're guaranteeing me a podium in Qatar.
Hopefully.
I'll take that as a guarantee then. And
Yeah.
we'll move over to Ollie, who is also looking very competitive in the front runners, but unfortunately retained a penalty or two. Ollie, how do you feel the race went for you this evening?
Oh, dude, I have no words. Like, I drove by, without a doubt, my best race this game.
Yeah, you were amazing.
I-
It was a great fucking
Yeah,
battle.
appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, it's a shame, really, because obviously, you know, that it would be nice knowing that, you know, I was actually fighting for a legitimate win. But I mean, the last 5 laps with when I got that extra 3 seconds, so I was up to 6 seconds. I knew I only had to finish ahead of Gordon, who also had 6 seconds. So it's kind of a bit soul defeating, if that's the word. But I literally said to myself, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to race like I'm racing for this win. And unfortunately, you know, he passed me on the line, but you know, that's it. You know, it's fine. I knew I wasn't going to win it, but you know, I had a good fun doing it. And yeah, it's a shame, but I'll definitely be back in Japan because that is my best track. So.
Ooh, we got a few drivers very confident at Japan, so I think next week is going to be an absolute heater of a race. And you definitely don't want to be missing that next week. And I'm certainly looking forward to it. This week's race, head and shoulders better than Miami was. I still managed to throw a few innuendos in here and there, so that was good fun. It's my little Easter egg. And I'm tempted to ask Lime why he chose to assassinate Mallard.
Yeah, there was an accident.
Well, we caught it on camera when it happened.
It's an accident. I just watched it back.
We'll have to let the stewards have a look at that, because funny enough, it was only 2 corners after I said, "Oh, come on, Lime, do something, give us a safety car."
No way, was it actually?
Michael
we're gonna-
can vouch for me on that.
It was definitely.
Right. That's commentator's curse if I've ever heard it in my life.
No, it's almost like you were listening to us and decided, "Oh, you know what, I'm bored, let me do it anyway."
What if I have stream on when I'm racing? I have
Well,
music on, but I
also-
have a stream on.
I just want to say I'm so sorry, Aero, for once again giving you commentator's curse. We are going to completely avoid you in the next race. We're not going to talk about you. We're not going to show you on the stream, and
You
we're
can
just
do
going to
it.
hope you win.
You can do whatever. It doesn't matter. You can watch whatever. Say whatever.
No,
Doesn't-
but it does seem like whenever
doesn't change
we
anything.
talk about you, things seem to go wrong for you. So it'll be like, in P1 we've got Star, in P2 now is WHF Gordon, in P4 we've got Ollie, and you'll be sitting P3 obviously, but we won't mention you at all.
Oh no, you can mention me away. It doesn't matter.
Can I say something, please?
Of course you can.
Arrow.
Please just don't murder me. We know you like to do it on track.
Oh, right. Arrow. I'm sorry about qualifying when you went into the back of me. I didn't want to give you a slipstream. So I was trying to make you go around me, so I stopped and you went into my diffuser. So apologies.
Wow.
I just wanted a little sniff.
Later.
And with
they
that,
should
I
take
think
up
it's time
innuendo.
to end.
I think that is probably the cue for us to end it off here this evening.
No.
As we potentially try and find somebody to raid. Thank you to everybody who has joined us this evening. And we will see you back next week for Japan, which should be a pretty good one. Obviously, a few drivers have guaranteed us podiums, so it'll be interesting to see how it all ends up. Thank you very much. I have been Scones in the commentary booth, and with me this evening was Michael Louie. And we're just waiting for the all clear from Arrow.
Yep, we're raiding Fun Oreo now.
Perfect. And I think we are clear now, so I will go ahead